If an observer happened to be looking at the moon on 16 July 1969, the date the Saturn V rocket blasted off from the Kennedy Space Center with the Apollo 11 crew on board, Commander Neil Armstrong, Command Module Pilot Michael Collins, and Lunar Module Pilot Edwin E. Aldrin, Jr., that observer would have seen a beautiful crescent moon with two sharp corners on it. Let's see what Nostradamus wrote about the events of the first manned moon landing. Nostradamus' Century 9, Quatrain 65. He will come to the corner of the moon to return. He will be taken and placed on a strange land. The immature advantage will be the subject of great scandal, harsh arguments, to one big praise. Line 1 says, he will come to the corner of the moon to return. The objective of the Apollo 11 mission was what President Kennedy said. I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth. Nostradamus' line 2 says, he will be taken and placed on a strange land. Neil Armstrong was taken by the lunar module Eagle and placed on the surface of the moon, on a strange land, as Nostradamus wrote in line 2. In lines 3 and 4 of the Quatrain, Nostradamus wrote, the immature advantage will be the subject of great scandal, harsh arguments, to one big praise. At the time of Apollo 11, the United States and Russia were in a space race to get to the moon. According to an article in Wikipedia, the space race was an informal competition between the United States and the Soviet Union to see who could make the furthest advancements into space first. It involved the efforts to explore outer space with artificial satellites, to send humans into space, and to land them on the moon. The term space race originated as an analogy to the arms race. The space race became an important part of the cultural, technological, and ideological rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Space technology became a particularly important arena in this conflict because of both its potential military applications and the morale-boosting social benefits. Critics of the manned space program complained that the program generated very little scientific knowledge and spent far too much money on protecting the lives of fragile human explorers instead of carrying out valuable research. As it turned out, landing the first man on the moon was, as Nostradamus put it in line 3, an immature advantage. The immature advantage gained by the United States by first landing a man on the moon and bringing him back safely was quickly erased by cooperation between the United States and Russia relating to their space programs. At the end of line 4, Nostradamus wrote, to one big praise. We all know who he was writing about. There are probably very few people in the world who haven't heard of astronaut Neil Armstrong, who stepped off Eagle's footpad and into history as the first human to set foot on another world. It was then that he uttered his famous line, "That's one small step for men, one giant leap for mankind." And, finally, let's read the entire quatrain again. He will come to the corner of the moon to return. He will be taken and placed on a strange land. The immature advantage will be the subject of great scandal, harsh arguments, to one big praise.